I am the daughter they erased. The embarrassment. The one with the broken brain. The sister who disappeared from family history. My name is Claire Hoffman. I'm 32 years old. I'm a librarian at the Hennepin County Central Library in Minneapolis. I make $48,000 a year. I live alone in a small apartment in Northeast Minneapolis. Drive a 9-year-old Honda Fit. I have bipolar disorder, type 2, diagnosed when I was 19. 13 years of managing a condition that terrified my family more than it ever terrified me. My father, Richard Hoffman, died 6 weeks ago. Stroke complications at age 67. Richard founded Hoffman Industries in 1985 commercial HVAC systems, built it from a small repair shop into a major contractor serving the upper Midwest, worth approximately $40 million when he died. I was his oldest child, the firstborn, the one who should have inherited his business, his legacy, his name. Instead, I became the one he erased from family photos, the daughter who embarrassed him, the reminder that mental illness existed in the perfect Hoffman family. Let me explain how I became invisible. I have 2 younger siblings, Jessica 29 and Brandon 26. Growing up, we were the perfect family. Dad building his business, Mom who died when I was 16 keeping the home, 3 kids doing well in school. Then, my freshman year of college, University of Minnesota, something changed. I stopped sleeping. For days, I'd stay up all night writing papers, making plans, feeling invincible. I'd spend money I didn't have, make impulsive decisions, feel like I could do anything. Then I'd crash. Depression so deep I couldn't get out of bed for weeks, miss classes, stop eating, feel worthless. After 3 months of this cycle, my roommate insisted I see a doctor. The diagnosis: bipolar disorder, hypomania followed by depression, a chemical imbalance in my brain, treatable, manageable, but chronic. I was 19 years old, terrified, but also relieved. There was a name for what I was experiencing. There was treatment. I told my family. My father's reaction: "Are you sure? Maybe you're just stressed. College is hard. Maybe you need to try harder. Manage your time better." Dad, it's a medical diagnosis. Mental health isn't like a broken leg, Claire. It's not definitive. Maybe you just need to be more disciplined. But I started treatment, medication, therapy, learned to manage my condition. By my junior year, I was stable, graduated on time, got a job at the library, built a life, but I still had episodes. Despite medication, despite therapy, bipolar disorder doesn't disappear. It's managed, not cured. I'd have breakthrough hypomania every few years, or depression that lasted months. Each time, I'd adjust medication, increase therapy, stabilize again. And each time, my family pulled further away. When I was 23, I had a severe depressive episode, hospitalized for 3 weeks, needed intensive treatment. My father visited once. Jessica never came. Brandon sent a text, "Hope you feel better." When I got out, Jessica told me, "Dad doesn't want us talking about your situation. It's private, family business. We don't need people knowing about your problems." My problems? You mean my illness? Whatever you want to call it. Just keep it quiet. When I was 25, I had a manic episode. Spent $8,000 I didn't have on a photography equipment. Quit my job impulsively. Thought I was going to be a famous photographer. 3 weeks later, the mania broke. I crashed into depression. Lost the apartment I couldn't afford. Moved back in with Dad temporarily while I stabilized. Jessica and Brandon stopped visiting Dad's house while I was there. "We don't want to be around Claire when she's like this," Jessica told Dad. "It's uncomfortable, scary." After 3 months, I stabilized, got my library job back, found a new apartment, rebuilt my life again. But something had changed. My family started editing me out. At first, it was subtle. Family gatherings where I wasn't invited. "Oh, we thought you'd be tired. We didn't want to overwhelm you." Then it became more obvious. Dad remarried when I was 27. Linda, a widow he'd met at a business conference. Nice enough. But she had opinions about my situation. I think it's best if Claire sits out some family events. I overheard Linda tell Dad, when we have business associates over, or church friends, people don't understand mental illness. It might reflect poorly on the family. Dad didn't argue. He never argued with Linda. The next family Christmas photo, the one they sent out on cards, showed Dad, Linda, Jessica, and Brandon. I'd been there that Christmas, stood right next to Brandon in the photo. But the card showed 4 people. I'd been cropped out. The photo looked better with even numbers, Linda explained when I asked. The next year, Dad commissioned a professional photographer for a family portrait to hang in his office at Hoffman Industries. Jessica, Brandon, and I all went to the session. We posed, smiled, stood together. When the portrait was delivered, I wasn't in it. The photographer had been instructed to edit me out. The final portrait showed Dad, Linda, Jessica, and Brandon. 4 people. Perfect family. Claire, your father felt it was more appropriate, Linda said. The portrait represents Hoffman Industries. Jessica works there. Brandon works there. It's about the business family. I'm his daughter. His oldest child, yes, but you don't work at the company. And given your condition, your father felt it was better to keep the business image separate from personal challenges. I stopped going to family events after that. What was the point? I was being systematically erased anyway. Over the next 5 years, from ages 27 to 32, my family removed me from every photo. Not just new photos, old photos too. Jessica took all the family albums, digitizing them, she said, preserving memories. When she returned the albums 6 months later, I'd been removed from dozens of photos, digitally edited out. Family vacations where I'd been present now showed empty spaces where I'd stood. Birthday parties, graduations, holidays, decades of memories altered. I was erased. The Hoffman Industries website had a Meet Our Family page. Photos of Dad, Linda, Jessica, and Brandon. No mention of a 3rd child. No mention of me. I was invisible. The daughter with the broken brain. Too embarrassing to photograph. Too shameful to acknowledge. I accepted it. What choice did I have? I couldn't force them to include me. Couldn't force them to accept that bipolar disorder was an illness, not a character flaw. So I built my own life, separate from them. I had friends, therapy, a support group, a life that didn't depend on family validation. I saw Dad maybe 3 times a year. Awkward lunches, brief conversations. He'd ask about work. I'd say it was fine. He'd nod. We'd eat in silence. Then I'd leave. Jessica and Brandon, I barely saw. We weren't close. They had their lives. I had mine. 6 weeks ago, everything changed. Dad had a stroke. Massive. At home, Linda found him collapsed in his study at a.m., called 911. He was rushed to Abbott Northwestern Hospital. I got a text from Jessica. Dad had a stroke. He's at Abbott. Not sure he'll make it. I drove to the hospital. Found Jessica and Brandon in the ICU waiting room. They looked surprised to see me. Claire, hi. Didn't expect you to come. He's my father, right? Of course. It's just, we know you don't like hospitals. I'm fine. How is he? They're operating, removing a clot. Doctor said it's bad. He might not survive. We waited hours. Linda arrived. She looked at me. Claire, I'm surprised you came. He's my father, I repeated. Yes. Well, thank you. Dad survived the surgery. But he was in ICU for a week. Sedated, intubated, fighting for his life. Jessica and Brandon visited during the day. Linda was there constantly. I came in the evenings after work, sat with Dad, held his hand, even though he didn't know I was there. After 8 days, they moved him out of ICU. Regular room, still weak, speech impaired from the stroke, but alive, improving slowly. He'll need months of rehabilitation, the doctor said, but he should make a good recovery. Jessica and Brandon were relieved. We thought we'd lose him. I was relieved too, but I also felt distant, like I was mourning someone who'd already stopped seeing me years ago. On the 10th day of his hospitalization, I was home, alone in my apartment. It was a.m., I'd just fallen asleep. My phone rang. Unknown number. I almost didn't answer, but something made me pick up. Hello, is this Claire Hoffman? A woman's voice, professional, urgent. Yes, who is this? I'm Dr. Sarah Kim. I'm on duty at Abbott Northwestern. Your father, Richard Hoffman, is asking for you. He's very agitated. He's insisting we call you. Can you come to the hospital? Is he okay? What's wrong? Physically, he's stable, but he's very upset. He keeps saying he needs to talk to you. Alone. Tonight? It's important. I'll be there in 20 minutes. I threw on clothes. Drove to the hospital, my heart pounding. What could Dad possibly need to tell me at a.m.? Was he dying? Was this goodbye? I arrived at the hospital, found his room. The door was closed. I knocked softly. Come in, a weak voice said. I opened the door. Dad was sitting up in bed, alone. The lights were dim. He looked old, frail, so different from the strong businessman I'd known. He saw me, his face crumpled, and he started crying. Claire, he whispered. You came. Of course I came. Dad, what's wrong? Are you okay? No, I'm not okay. I need to tell you something. Need to fix something. Before it's too late, I sat in the chair next to his bed. What do you need to fix? You, us, everything I did to you, everything I let them do to you. And then my father told me the truth I'd waited years to hear. My father cried, actually cried, tears streaming down his face, his voice breaking. Claire, I removed you from the photos, from the family, from everything. I was ashamed. Ashamed that my daughter had bipolar disorder. Ashamed that people would think the Hoffman family was flawed. Dad, let me finish. Please, I need to say this while I still can. While my mind is clear, I nodded, unable to speak. When you were diagnosed at 19, I didn't understand. I thought mental illness was weakness, lack of discipline. I thought if you just tried harder, you'd be fine. But you tried. God, you tried so hard. Medication, therapy, managing your life around something you didn't choose. And I punished you for it. You didn't punish me, I erased you. When Linda suggested we crop you out of photos, I agreed. When Jessica wanted to edit the family albums, I let her. When we commissioned the portrait for my office and the photographer asked if you'd be in it, I said no. I told him to edit you out, my oldest child, my firstborn daughter, and I erased you. Why? I whispered. Why did you do it? Because I was a coward. Because I cared more about what people thought than about you. Because I let Linda and Jessica convince me that your illness was embarrassing, that it reflected badly on the family, that it was better if people didn't know about you. The website, the company page, I'm not on it, I know. I approved that. Jessica suggested it. Said it would be cleaner if we just showed the family members who worked at Hoffman Industries. You didn't work there, so you weren't included. But that was a lie. The truth was, I was ashamed to claim you publicly. I wanted to be angry, wanted to scream, but I just felt sad, exhausted. You were hospitalized twice, Dad continued. Once for 3 weeks, once for 10 days. I visited you once each time. Once. Your siblings never visited. I told them not to. Told them it would be too hard on them. But the truth was, I didn't want them associated with mental illness. Didn't want anyone knowing you were in a psychiatric ward. I know. You know? How? I've always known, Dad. I'm not stupid. I knew you were ashamed. I knew you erased me because I embarrassed you. I just accepted it. What else could I do? You could have fought back, demanded to be seen, insisted on being included, and you would have said no. You would have made excuses. It was easier to just disappear, build my own life without you. He grabbed my hand, his grip weak but desperate. I'm so sorry. I'm so goddamn sorry. You're my daughter, my oldest child. You're brilliant. You survived something most people couldn't survive. You manage a condition that would break other people. You work full-time. You live independently. You're everything I should be proud of. And instead, I hid you. Why are you telling me this now? Because I almost died. 10 days ago, I had a stroke. I could have died without ever telling you the truth, without ever apologizing, without ever fixing what I broke. You can't fix 20 years of being erased, Dad, I know. But I can fix one thing: my will, my inheritance, the future. I pulled my hand away. I don't care about your money. It's not about money. It's about acknowledgement. Right now, my will splits everything equally. Jessica, Brandon, and you. Each of you gets a third, about $13 million each. That's fair. No, it's not. Because Jessica and Brandon allowed you to be erased. They participated in it. They edited you out of photos. They excluded you from family events. They supported Linda's campaign to make you invisible. They don't deserve equal shares with you. They don't deserve to inherit from a family they helped destroy. What are you saying? I want to change my will. Now, tonight? Before Jessica and Linda find out. Before they convince me not to. Before I lose my nerve or my clarity. You need a lawyer. You can't just. I can write a holographic will, handwritten, signed by me, witnessed. It's legal in Minnesota. I looked it up before I called you. I had Dr. Kim verify it. Dad, you should think about this. I've had 10 days to think. Lying in this bed, realizing I almost died without making this right. I know what I want to do. I just need you to help me do it. Help you how? Write it down. My hand is shaky from the stroke. I can't write clearly, but I can dictate. You write. I'll sign. We'll get to witnesses, medical staff. They can certify I'm of sound mind, that I'm doing this voluntarily, that it's my decision. Dad, Jessica and Brandon will contest this. Let them. I'm competent. My doctor will testify to that. I'm making this decision freely, and most importantly, I'm correcting an injustice I created. A will that treats all my children equally when I didn't treat them equally in life is a lie. This will tell the truth. I looked at my father, 76 years old, lying in a hospital bed, crying, begging for forgiveness, trying to fix 13 years of erasure with a piece of paper written at AM. Okay, I said. Tell me what you want. He smiled, relieved. Get Dr. Kim. And another doctor or nurse. I need two witnesses. I found Dr. Kim in the hallway. Explained what Dad wanted. She looked skeptical but agreed. Brought another Dr. Dr. James Chen with her. Mr. Hoffman, are you certain about this? Dr. Kim asked. Absolutely. I'm of sound mind. I understand what I'm doing. I want to write a new will. I want my daughter Claire to inherit everything. I want my other children to understand what they cost themselves. Dr. Chen checked Dad's pupils, asked him questions, verified he was oriented to time, place, and person. He's lucid, competent. If he wants to write a will, he's capable. I pulled out my notebook. I always carried one for library work. Found a blank page. Okay, Dad, tell me what you want to say. He took a breath, thought for a moment, then began. I, Richard James Hoffman, being of sound mind and body, do hereby revoke all previous wills and codicils. This is my final will and testament, written on November 3, 2024, at Abba Northwestern Hospital in Minneapolis, Minnesota. I wrote quickly, my handwriting clear, making sure every word was legible. I leave my entire estate including Hoffman Industries, my home at 1847 Linden Hills Boulevard, and all investments and assets to my daughter, Claire Marie Hoffman. I looked up. Dad, that's everything. That's $40 million. Keep writing. I leave nothing to my daughter, Jessica Ann Hoffman, or my son, Brandon Paul Hoffman. Not because I don't love them, but because they participated in erasing their sister from family photos, family events, and family life. They allowed mental illness to be treated as shameful. They supported the removal of Claire from our family narrative. They don't deserve equal inheritance with someone they helped make invisible. Dad, they'll hate me for this. They already treated you like you didn't exist. This just makes their indifference expensive. To my wife, Linda Marie Hoffman, You may continue to reside in our home for as long as you live, but the home belongs to Claire. You have no ownership. You pushed for Claire's erasure more than anyone. You don't deserve anything more than shelter." He paused, gathering strength, then continued. "Claire has bipolar disorder. This is a medical condition, not a character flaw, not a weakness, not something to be ashamed of. She has managed this condition with courage and grace for 13 years. She has been hospitalized. She has struggled. She has fought. And she has survived. She is the strongest person I know. I erased her from photos because I was ashamed, but I should have been proud. I should have shown the world. My daughter has bipolar disorder, and she's thriving anyway. Instead, I hid her, pretended she didn't exist, let her siblings and my wife push her further and further away. This will is my apology, my acknowledgement, my declaration that Claire is my daughter, my heir, and someone I should have defended instead of erased. If Jessica or Brandon contest this will, they're proving exactly why they don't deserve to inherit. Because they value money over understanding why they're being excluded. Because they still don't see what they did wrong. Claire, you don't owe them anything. You don't owe Linda anything. You don't owe me anything. But if you choose to be generous with this inheritance, that's your choice, not an obligation. This is my final will, written in my own words, dictated to my daughter Claire Hoffman, witnessed by medical professionals who can testify I was competent, lucid, and acting freely. He looked at me. Sign it for me. My signature. I'll copy it as best I can. I wrote at the bottom. Signed, Richard James Hoffman. Date, November 3, 2024. Time, 2:47 am. Dad took the pen, his hand shaking, carefully copied his signature. It was shaky but legible, recognizably his. Dr. Kim and Dr. Chen signed as witnesses. Both wrote statements certifying Dad's competency. I held the handwritten will. 3 pages of notebook paper, my handwriting, Dad's signature, 2 witness signatures. That's it, I asked. This is legal? Holographic will, handwritten, signed by testator, witnessed. Yes, it's legal, Dr. Kim confirmed. I've seen them upheld in court before. Dad lay back, exhausted. Claire, keep that safe. Don't tell Jessica or Brandon. Don't tell Linda. When I die, whenever that is presented at the will reading, it supersedes the old will because it's more recent. Dad, I don't know if I can. You can. You're the strongest person I know. And you deserve this. Not because of the money. Because you deserve to be first. You deserve to be seen. You deserve to be acknowledged as my daughter, my oldest child. The one I should have been proudest of. He closed his eyes. I'm tired, but thank you for coming, for writing this, for forgiving me enough to help me fix what I broke. I haven't forgiven you yet, Dad. I know, but maybe someday, when you're living in the house I erased you from, running the company I wouldn't let claim you, maybe then, you'll forgive me. I left the hospital at 8 a.m., drove home, sat in my apartment, staring at 3 pages of notebook paper, my father's final will, written at 8 a.m. in a hospital room, giving me everything, giving Jessica and Brandon nothing. I put it in a fireproof safe and waited to see what would happen next. Dad was discharged from the hospital a week later, went to rehabilitation facility, made slow progress. Jessica and Brandon visited regularly, suddenly very attentive. Linda was there constantly. Dad never mentioned the AM will, never told them our secret. He lived for 8 more months, came home, continued therapy. Speech improved but never fully recovered. I visited weekly. We never discussed the will again, but we talked about my childhood, about bipolar disorder, about what could have been. He died quietly, second stroke, fatal 8 months after writing the will. Jessica called me. Dad died this morning. Funeral is Saturday. The funeral was huge. Dad knew everyone in Twin Cities business community. I sat in the back. Linda and Jessica had created a memorial photo display, decades of family photos. I wasn't in a single one. Every photo edited to remove me. Wedding photos where I'd been bridesmaid, I was gone. Christmas photos, empty spaces. Dad's birthday parties, I never existed. The memorial told a story. Richard Hoffman had 2 children, Jessica and Brandon. I was erased from his entire life story. Jessica saw me looking at the displays. Mom Linda worked hard on these. Wanted to celebrate Dad's life. His life apparently didn't include me. Claire, don't make this difficult. These are the photos we have. No, these are the photos you edited. I was in these events. You removed me. The will reading was scheduled 1 week after the funeral. Dad's attorney, Michael Stevens, had the old will from 6 years ago. Division. Everything split equally 3 ways. Jessica, Brandon, and I would each get $13.3 million. Linda would keep the house. I arrived at the attorney's office carrying a manila envelope. Jessica and Brandon were already there, looking sad but also expectant. They were about to become millionaires. Michael began reading the old will. Richard Hoffman's estate valued at approximately $40 million to be divided equally among his 3 children. Jessica smiled. Brandon nodded. Linda looked satisfied. I raised my hand. There's a more recent will. The room went silent. I handed Michael the envelope. Holographic will. Written November 3rd, 8 months ago, at Abbott Northwestern Hospital. Signed by Dad. Witnessed by 2 physicians who certified competency. Michael examined it. Read it carefully. His expression changed. This appears to be valid. Handwritten. Properly signed. Properly witnessed. Date is 8 months after the will I just read. If authentic, this supersedes the previous will. Let me see that. Jessica grabbed it. Read it. Her face went white. This is fake. Claire forged this. The witnesses are Dr. Sarah Kim and Dr. James Chen. Both still work at Abbott. Both will testify. You can verify Dad's signature with handwriting experts. It's real. Brandon read over Jessica's shoulder. This says we get nothing. Claire gets everything. All $40 million. Why would Dad? Jessica started. Then she read the explanation out loud about the photos, the erasure, the shame, the invisibility, about how they'd allowed it, participated in it. We didn't erase you, Jessica said weakly. The photos, I was in those photos. You digitally removed me. Spent months editing family albums to delete me. Don't lie, Dad was confused when he wrote this. He just had a stroke. He was 8 days post-stroke. Medically cleared as competent. 2 doctors certified it. He knew exactly what he was doing. Jessica and Brandon hired attorneys. Tried to contest. Argued Dad was incompetent. I had undue influence. The holographic will was invalid. The court reviewed everything. Medical records showing Dad was competent. Testimony from Dr. Kim and Dr. Chen confirming he was lucid, acting freely, not coerced. Handwriting analysis confirming Dad's signature. Testimony from nurses who remembered Dad calling me at 2 a.m. his choice, his idea. I had evidence. The edited photo albums showing my removal. The family website listing only Jessica and Brandon. The memorial at Dad's funeral erasing me completely. This will is Richard Hoffman's response to years of family exclusion, my attorney argued. He witnessed his daughter being erased and tried to correct that injustice. After 4 months, the judge ruled, the holographic will is valid, properly executed. Richard Hoffman was competent. Olivia inherits the entire estate. Jessica and Brandon received nothing. They'd fought and lost. Now they had nothing, no inheritance, no reconciliation, nothing. I became CEO of Hoffman Industries, learned the HVAC business, kept most of the staff. They were skilled, loyal. Sold the Linden Hills house. Too many bad memories. Linda moved to a condo I bought for her per Dad's will. I provided housing. Jessica and Brandon never spoke to me again. Tried once to reach out, offer them money despite the will. Jessica, we don't want your charity. It's not charity. You turned Dad against us. Made him think we were horrible. I didn't make him think anything. You removed me from every photo. He noticed. He cared. You didn't, they left. I never saw them again. 5 years after Dad died, I established the Richard Hoffman Foundation for Mental Health Awareness, using the inheritance to fund mental health services, reduce stigma, support families dealing with bipolar disorder. At the foundation launch, I displayed 2 things: the memorial photos from Dad's funeral, all showing the family without me, and Dad's holographic will showing his final acknowledgement of what had been done. These photos erase me. This will restored me. One is a lie. One is truth. My father spent years hiding me, then spent his final months trying to undo that harm. This foundation continues that work, making invisible people visible. 10 years after Dad died, I received a letter from Jessica. Brief, painful. I'm in therapy, working on understanding what we did. The therapist asked me to write to you, not to ask for forgiveness, I don't deserve that, but to acknowledge. We removed you from every picture. We made you invisible. We treated your illness like something shameful. We were wrong. Dad saw it, tried to fix it. We fought him even after death. I'm sorry. I don't expect a response. Just wanted you to know. I finally understand what we did. I didn't respond immediately. Took 6 months. Then sent one sentence. Dad called me at AM and apologized. He spent his last 8 months showing me I mattered. You spent the last 10 years proving you still don't understand, but I hope someday you will. 10 years after Dad died, I understood. They removed me from every picture, but they forgot who helped him write the new will at the hospital. The pictures told their version of the family. The will told the truth, and in the end, the truth was all that mattered. If Claire's story of invisible daughters and AM hospital confessions moved you, don't keep it to yourself. Hit that like button if you believe that mental illness is not weakness, that being erased from photos doesn't mean being erased from wills, and that sometimes the daughter they hid becomes the one who inherits everything. Subscribe and turn on notifications, because stories of families who erase, fathers who apologize at AM, and holographic wills written in hospital rooms always have more powerful truths to reveal. Share this video with someone who's ever been erased from family photos. Someone whose mental health made them embarrassing to their family. Someone who was cropped out, photoshopped away, or simply forgotten. Someone who knows what it feels like to be invisible in your own family story. Someone who understands that being removed from pictures doesn't mean being removed from your father's heart. Drop a comment below. Was Richard right to leave everything to Claire and nothing to Jessica and Brandon? Should Claire have shared the inheritance despite the will? And here's the question. If your father called you at AM from a hospital bed crying and asking for forgiveness, could you help him write a will that disinherited your siblings? Your support makes these stories of erased daughters, deathbed apologies, and ultimate vindication possible. Thank you for being part of our community of people who believe that mental illness deserves compassion, that family photos should include everyone, and that sometimes the invisible daughter was the only one who mattered. See you in the next one. And remember, they can remove you from pictures, but they can't remove you from the truth.